everybody, it's the Modern Geek, also known as Vant Mario, and we are jumping into the deep end. So, how's everybody doing? Hope you had a happy holiday. And this is a pretty simple video. It's going to be exactly what it sounds, which is what a hobby geek gets for the holidays. So, sorry we haven't been able to do one of these videos sooner, and then I did not stream. We're gonna try to stream over the weekend, but the holidays is a tough time. Had family over, as many I'm sure have. Had different celebrations and things going on, and we have quite a few birthdays in my family, so there are people who have birthdays on different days. So I'm coming to you live now. Wanted to share with you what I got for the holidays, and this is going to be an all over the place kind of video. We're going to have some TCG cards. We're going to have models. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to build some of the models. And we have models that span all of my interests. So Warhammer, other miniature games. Just a lot of things on my wish list that kind of fill out some of my collections. So we will be, of course, delving in and dealing with these guys. And just you know, a really cool experience. And not in addition to that, my birthday is coming up, so I'll be having other hobby gifts that'll be related to that. So quite a lot. And of course, who could not forget, and we'll definitely talk a little bit about it on this maybe this stream, or we might talk about it through the week. But Games Workshop has been feverishly doing a lot of releases, things. So this is just kind of a light video. Thought I'd jump on because we just haven't had any because of the holiday interrupting the schedule, and me just not having my constant schedule. As you guys can probably hear, I'm also still sick, which really sucks. So I hope you're all a forgiving bunch, which you guys mostly are. But I'm very sorry about the unevenness of our videos. I hope everybody's hanging in there, and I promise through the year we're gonna get back on track. Still gonna be on the still gonna be on the you know, later side when we do stream, but I hope everybody comes to joins us and finds some fun. So let's jump in. So obviously, I'm just gonna kind of go over everything I got for the holidays, and then we can start taking a look at some of them. So first and foremost, so actually let me do let's do the big gifts, and then we'll do stocking stuffer-ish things. No, actually, you know what? Let's just do it in the order that I had it. That's fine. So in my stocking, as you guys know, we've done a lot of Lorcana unboxings on the channel. We've done a lot of pack opens. We're gonna open these packs, rip them open on this stream. But we got 2 packs from Chapter 1, 2 packs from Chapter 2. What's really cool about the Lorcana stuff is that the prices are really dropping. So it's part of why my family was able to get affordable packs. So I was so happy because I got really nervous when I opened them, because I was like, when I saw there were 4 Lorcana packs, I'm like, please tell me that that my family did not pay exorbitant amounts for these packs. And luckily they didn't, because what I have found is even the game stores in my area, although the prices are starting to come down and even down. So we got 2 of each, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, so we're going to bust those open. Then I also scored myself a Warhammer Age of Sigmar model. I did not have Gloomspite Gitz Rabble Rouser. Never got this model. I saw him. He's part of the board game folks, but he also can be played in a Gloomspite Gitz army. I did have troll stuff on my list. Don't know if that made it into anybody's gifts, since my birthday is very close to the Christmas holiday. So I don't know yet. Birthday hasn't happened yet, so might be seeing those maybe showing up. But definitely got enough money, because obviously money happens because I'm an adult. Although I'm very fortunate that my family still lets me get toys and models and all this other stuff. Um, I feel like such a privileged person. It's like I'm an adult that gets toys. But anyway, so yeah, so we got him. Probably gonna build him on this stream tonight, so I'll put him together because I want to obviously put the Warhammer content, because we got a lot of stuff from a lot of different areas. So I'm gonna hold off on talking about that because that's something different. Did get some more Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff, which was really cool. And this is really cool because this finishes the team I wanted. So now I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole of comic lore, but for those folks out there who are MCU fans, you probably know that there's a Thunderbolts movie coming. And we already met Red Guardian, which he was in the Black Widow movie. But in the comic books, the idea of Red Guardian is that he is part of a Russian base. So the Russians try to recreate essentially the Avengers from America. And these are some of those other Avenger members. So they're sort of like, I don't want to say they're evil Avengers. They were raised or created in a communist country, so they have a different ideology than the American ones do. But obviously they do portray bad characters in the comic book. But so Crimson Dynamo, which you're seeing here, is supposed to be like the Russian version of Iron Man. And then Dark Star is supposed to be, I guess you could call her like the Russian, which is kind of weird to say the Russian version of Scarlet Witch, but she's a mutant. She has like mutant powers. Ursa Major is supposed to be like their version of the Hulk, but he turns to a bear instead of a monster. A monstrous Hulk. And then, of course, Crimson Dynamo. Of course, what's his face? Can't say his name now. I literally just said his name. But Red Guardian is the Captain America version, and of course in the MCU version of him is very funny because he says that a lot. Like, does Captain America talk about me? Does Captain America know who I am? Because he's like in this like constant rivalry with Captain America, which is kind of funny. So I'm so happy to have this team because I actually wanted them for. We've been talking a lot about this custom campaign we have, but I definitely wanted to have them as an encounter in the campaign. So they could kind of rush in and potentially fight maybe some of our multi-dimensional heroes as they're coming in. So I'm very, very happy. It's actually funny. All of the stuff that's non-Warhammer related is actually going to be probably used in that campaign, but we're also going to throw some Warhammer stuff in there. So I'm super excited about it. So we got that. Very, very happy. Basically means, I think this at this point now means I have like all of the first wave of this. There's very few Marvel Crisis Protocol models I don't own. So we'll be building this on a future stream, painting those. Then this I was super excited about, which is Shatterpoint, fistful of credits. This is a rogue, rogue and villainy kind of group for Shatterpoint. Shatterpoint is the Star Wars equivalent to Marvel Crisis Protocol, made by Atomic Mass Games. Marvel Crisis Protocol was also made by Atomic Mass Games. So I'm super happy to get this. They also were something I wanted to use in our custom campaign, so I'm super excited. I just love these models. It's all the aliens and all of the like bounty hunters, which I always love the bounty hunters in the Star Wars franchise. But beware the galaxy's most ruthless bounty hunters. Few are as infamous as Cad Bane, who often works for the Hutt clan and has a well-earned reputation throughout the criminal underworld. Jesus. As quick of wit as he is fast on the draw. Bane favors twin blasters, but but possesses an array of tools and tricks to defeat his targets, which have sometimes included members of the Jedi Order. Cad's success also relies on his choice of companions, a rogues gallery including the likes of Aurra Sing, featured at the upper right. That's Aurra Sing, I believe, which we've met in the Disney Plus shorts. Pali Duvan, Sniper. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's Pali Duvan. This is Aurra Sing. And then this is, I forgot what he's called, but very cool stuff. Very, very excited. Super ready to bust this open. The other thing too about this is that up until now, I did paint a Cad Bane model, but it was for Star Wars Legion. The Star Wars Legion models are a lower scale, so I've been grabbing all the Shatterpoint models because I do want to use some of them in the custom campaign we're going to do. But I also want to use them in, I have the Star Wars RPG, which is another reason I want them, and obviously to play Shatterpoint. I will say in my area, a lot of people don't play Shatterpoint, so I am sort of hoarding and collecting the models, similar to how I did with the Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff. But I am being a little bit more selective with the Star Wars Shatterpoint. I'm only collecting characters that I really, really like. And Cad Bane is one of those. Then I also got very, very funny for folks that are of my generation and have been around in the gaming hobby world. So when I was a kid, in the 80s, I saw the commercials, I saw everything. I wanted the Hero Quest board game. So for anyone that was out there at that time, the Hero Quest board game was an epic board game. It was crazy. It had tons of pieces. You know, for folks of today, this is like an old hat concept of having like miniatures and terrain pieces and a board, and you're like working as a team, or a co-op board game, or all these things. In the 80s, this was a revolutionary new idea. Now, what's funny about Heroes Quest, it's the reason why I said this is a Warhammer stream is because we're talking about a lot of Warhammer stuff. Hero Quest was bought by Warhammer. It was bought by Games Workshop. So Heroes Quest has been essentially turned into Warhammer Quest. So things like Black Fortress, things like the fantasy-based Hero Quest or Warhammer Quest boxes they've done, they actually come from this. This is its origin. So when you bought Heroes Quest was a base board game, and then they made lots of different expansions and other stuff, and this was a character expansion. And what they did was they actually reissued the board game. They remade the board game. I have the reissued board game. I eagerly want to play it on the channel so we can explore it together. But this is the Rogue Hire of Ethron, and this is an additional hero. This is an additional hero that you can add to the game, and they sold these at the time. They sold these at the time that you got the game. And I'm actually going to open this because for the Hero Quest stuff, they're all like molded pieces, because this is more like a board game versus a tabletop hobby model game. But obviously, because it is board game pieces, they are, you know, just blank plastic, so you could obviously prime them and paint them, which I plan to do with mine. I'm just going to take this off. But yeah, you can see here, they give you actually two. So this is nimble and skilled, skirmish, deadly with small blades, independent but loyal to the monarch, a reluctant hero. So like I said, HeroClix was amazing. Heroes Quest was amazing. So we have a letter in here. Oh, that's so cool. This is the model. One of the models, because there's two models in here. And you can see here, I'm just going to show one thing of cards, Rogue. And you can see this is the, you are the Rogue, a nimble skirmisher. This is the hero card for the hero character. And then this is all of their abilities. So basically what Hero's Quest is it's essentially D&D in the form of cards, a board, and pieces. So it's kind of like you're playing D&D, but in a physical three-dimensional board versus just a character sheet, and it's a narrative. For a lot of people, this was really cool because that's a kind of daunting part of Dungeons & Dragons. So, official... Oh, this is so cool. So they recreated how to play with this character. When you play this, play the HeroQuest game system, and you are choosing your hero, you may select the character, or you may select any other character available to you. A group of heroes should not include any duplicate characters. So that is one thing about HeroQuest. When you HeroQuest, keep saying that HeroQuest, similar to how like most dungeon masters would say, we want one healer, we want one magic user, we want one fighter, we want one this. They suggest you play it that way. So this is super cool. So this is an expansion for Hero's Quest. Like I said, it is. People may argue and say this is not Warhammer. It is actually related to Warhammer because they bought Hero's Quest. But so I got this for Christmas. That was pretty awesome. And then the next thing I got is super big. So I'm going to try to show it on camera. But it is obviously Warhammer related. It is not Warhammer. It's not made by Games Workshop, but obviously can super be used. This is actually made by WizKids. So if anybody out there is familiar with Warlock tiles, I'm obviously going to be using this as terrain, both on my tabletop and also for D&D stuff. But this is the Caverns basic set. And this is a really cool system. It's an interlocking tile system. So I'm just going to show the back really quick. But this is what comes in this box. And you can throw the terrain down and make anything you want. I also have the roads pack as well. I'm going to be also using Lego, which we're going to start doing that in the streams where I'm going to actually build terrain out of Lego pieces. I'm going to be using a 3D program to design it, and then we're going to build it. So I can build like taverns and structures and other stuff. Because I have an overabundance of Lego, and I was like, why can't I make Warhammer terrain out of this? Like, let's give it a shot. And I think it will look really good, especially for broken buildings and decrepit stuff and all that kind of stuff. So, but this is super cool. I'm definitely going to use this in our custom campaign. This will look great for doing like craters, like especially for the Dragon Ball Z characters. I can definitely use this for some of the elements. So, got myself some Warlock tiles, some stuff to add on to my collection, which is pretty cool. So that, then I treated myself to some stuff. Let me pop my close-up cam. I ordered on Black Friday, which was kind of a Christmas gift to me, some Hero Forge models, which are going to be used in our custom campaign. They're also going to be used in some D&D stuff. So super excited about that. These are the folks that are going to be hailing from the Starjammer realm. This is Bob the Golem, who has two magical familiars with him. He's a simple man who does not shy away from creatures. Yes, that is a magical talking duck or goose, and a flying squirrel with wings and a scorpion tail. He's just got a ton of stuff on him. I really enjoyed making this model, so I customed this in Hero Forge. They were doing discounts on their printing. This is their premium plastic, which it's pretty good. It's a little on the brittle side because it's resin. This is one of the bug creatures as well, which is pretty cool. And then this is one of our automaton characters, because you can do automatons. He's a little hard, but you'll get to know these characters more. I'm going to show off some concept art and stuff that I actually used to create these models. But Hero Forge came through. I think their quality was pretty good. Sorry, the smaller model's a little tougher. I'm actually working on trying to get a much better camera to do macro shots. Haven't gotten it there yet. And then I did buy myself, we're going to feature these in another video, but I bought myself some Etsy prints of some very realistic evolution Pokemon. They're going to be in the custom campaign as well. I may also use them as some proxies in Warhammer. There are a couple of units that I can think of. So that is all part of my Christmas haul. But that was more like gifts for me versus the other stuff. So we're going to build this model today. We're going to open up these Lorcana packs. So we're going to get Rabble Rouza on the table. And while we're doing that, we'll talk a little bit about the old world stuff. And I specifically, I do know I put, as I was saying before, my my birthday is very close to the holiday. So I did put additional things like some Cities of Sigmar stuff and other stuff, which was kind of in preparation for the old world announcements. I'm so pumped for Tomb Kings and Batonians. I'm definitely going to be getting both boxes. I already told my my local game store, I'm like, the minute you can order that stuff, like, go for it. Let's do it. So I was super happy. But I've been holding off cracking these packs open. Let's do it, and let's get this model built. And we're also going to do a little bit more work on our custom, and yes, your eyes do not deceive you, custom Space Orcs, which are going to be featured in, I'm actually creating an original story for these guys, and they'll be in the custom campaign as well. So we're going to paint those. We're going to work a little bit more on him as well. All right, so we're going to open up our Chapter 1 Lorcana packs. Again, all part of the Geek Christmas, or Geekmas. And obviously in the comments, I'd love to hear what you guys might have received, or gals might have received, from your Christmas experience, or whatever holiday you celebrate. Maybe you celebrate Hanukkah. So we're gonna go through these real quick. I'm not gonna read the cards. We got Pongo, Simba, Wardrobe, Aladdin, Merlin, Tinkerbell, Rafiki, Dr. Facilia's cards, Aurora, our first rare, Maui, and Captain Hook, or one of the Captain Hooks, and our foil. Ooh, that's a nice foil. Lilo as a foil. I actually like that foil card. No big hits or pulls there. All right, let's wish on the second pack, guys. Second Chapter 1 pack. Could a Rapunzel be lurking for us? I don't know. Let's see. What amazing things could... It's really funny. All right. So we got Minnie Mouse. We got Sebastian. We got Jetsam. We got Genie. We got Develop Your Brain. Kristoff. Ariel. Kronk. Captain. Oh, geez. Our first rare. I showed you the second one, so I'm sorry for the reveal there. Lilo, which used to be a really good rare to get, but she's dropped significantly in price. Ursula, still a decent rare to get. She's still a $10 rare if I'm not mistaken. So not a bad pull. I don't have a full play set of her yet. So we did get a legendary. Not bad. And a foiled break. So out of our Chapter 1 packs, we pulled just our normal rares. Actually, out of all the ones I could have pulled, these three were actually pretty good. The Captain Hook, I think I do have a play set of. So it's going to be an extra card. But at least we pulled one legendary out of there. Now, Floodborn is the Chapter 2 of the, or the second set. So this is the newest set. There's definitely a lot more decent cards, but a lot of the card values have dropped really, really low. So, it's not necessarily worth it to get. You know, packs are interesting because you could open packs, but you may not hit giant cards anymore. So it's kind of like, I feel like this is not focusing the way it used to. Rabbit, Sneezy, Jiminy Cricket. Bon. Varana. Donald Duck. Deep Sea Diver. There's a lot of Donalds in this set. That's why I did that. Yasma. There's actually a couple of Yasmas too. Cruella de Vil. A reimagined, like, hero version of her. Bashful. Our first rare, World's Greatest Criminal Mind. Not a great card. We did get an epic. Man, I love pulling Lady Tremaine. I got an enchanted Lady Tremaine in the last packs we did. And then our foil was Bounce. So we did get an epic. An epic is not terrible. An epic is not a horrible thing to shake a stick at. So we're averaging at least one epic or one legendary in each of our 2 packs. So not a bad haul for the pack so far. Lady Tremaine's not a tremendously valuable rare. So all right. So we got another Cruella de Vil. There's actually multiple Cruellas in here. Sleepy. Merlin the Crab. Which I hate that card. I have so many of them. Go the Distance. This Radigan, love the art, but I do have a lot of the card. Last Cannon. Queen of Hearts. I love the Queen of Hearts art that they've done on these cards. And this, the Robin Hood on the second set, very cool reimagining of him too. I love the 2 Cheshire Cats they did for this set as well. So the artwork is stellar. I really love the artwork they've done. Our first rare is Pooh. And our second rare is Sorcerer's Spellbook. And our foil is Charge. So unfortunately, the rise of the Floodborne packs, not the greatest pulls in the world. So we did not get really amazing packs. It's okay. It happens. The good news is that my family, like I said, did not pay too far above. They did pay more than like $1 or $2 more for these packs than you normally would. So I was, it was a little bit better for sure. But yeah, it's just you don't get a lot of really big hits out of these packs anymore. So I do urge people that if you are looking for Lorcana, or you want to start playing Lorcana, definitely take a stroll on the singles market. There are a few outlier cards. So like in the first set, Rapunzel is still a $50 card. And obviously if you get any enchanted rare cards, they're really good. But you can get most of the other cards, even the legendaries and even the epics for like $2 to $10. It's not like a huge deal. So if you just want to, I tell people, if you want to get into this game, go the single route market. I mean, obviously, if you want to buy yourself packs to like get started, or if you want to base your deck off a starter deck, it's probably the best way to do it. And you could buy yourself packs to get started, but like don't go crazy trying to get packs, and definitely like pay MSRP for stuff, because at least if you pay $7 for a pack and you get like a $2 to $3 rare, you're not going to feel as bad. Because like here, I mean, I might be lucky if Lady Tremaine's $2. But most of these rares, he comes in the starter deck, so he's very little on price. This I think also comes in the starter deck, so that is the other problem. They made theme decks that have lots of rares in them, so a lot of the rares take a very big hit in value. But it also means you can buy a theme deck and start playing right away, and you don't feel like you're like underpowered, which is kind of a nice thing. So there are pros and cons to all of it. So let's get the cards out of the way. Hey, what's up? We just opened a couple of Lorcana packs. We're going to jump into some model building. Whoa. We're looking at all of my Christmas goodies for the year. I was just about to put those in the completely wrong pile. Yeah, you can take a look at what we pulled. That's our... That was our... Just confuse these. That was our haul. If you're looking Look at what we just pulled. This is what we pulled. But we're, like I said, we're going to jump into... Oh, nice. It was decent. The Ursula was a nice surprise. And the Lilo, that's going to be good for people who... I'm very happy because I have enough now for my deck that I'm building, but I also have additional as a playset. So if I want to trade some of those to people who maybe weren't as lucky to get the first chapter cards, chances are, yeah, no Rapunzel. I did pull a Rapunzel in my last 8 packs. So before Christmas, I was able to get about 7 Floodborne packs and 8 Chapter 1 packs, and I did pull a Rapunzel out of those. That was super cool. I not only pulled a Rapunzel, I pulled a Rapunzel out of that, and I pulled a Enchanted Lady Tremaine out of the other packs. So that was a super stellar pack. Not only that, I pulled out a foil Cinderella from the Floodborne board as well. Funny enough, Cinderella is like the unsung hero on my Floodborne pack opens. I like always, if I pull the Cinderella, I always pull, I seem to always pull a foiled one. So at least it's the regular, because she's actually worth something. She's actually worth quite a little bit of money. And then if you get the foiled version of her, it's like super cool. So I'm going to lower this light a little bit. See if that minimizes the glare a little bit. Yeah, it's probably a little better maybe. But yeah, I did pull a Rapunzel last time. So if you go onto my YouTube channel, you can see that video of us pulling the Rapunzel. Yeah, I haven't been so lucky with the enchanted rares. I am the owner of 3 enchanted. Oh my god. AOS Orcs. Are you asking me a question about them, or are you saying that you yourself received quite a bit of AOS Orcs? I'm just trying to understand. I'm like trying to grab everything. Or are you describing what this is? Because this is Gloomspite Gits, so technically it's goblins, but... Oh, yeah, so this model is, this is Gloomspite Gits Rabble Rouser. So I did put on my wish list, or like my list of like, this is what I want. I put on there the new orc with the new named character that has the squig with the anvil. I did put him on there, but as I was saying before, my birthday is so close to the holiday that I may be receiving some of the things that I wanted for my birthday rather than for Christmas. So so it's kind of crazy that like for one week in the year I get like a ton of presents. So which is like super cool, but. So that's why, like, you guys probably noticed on the channel, which has been pretty consistent, when we get to the, I also play. I do play. I will say between COVID, and just, so for me, COVID was a big part of it. But then also my group that I normally play with, a lot of them kind of, one of the people moved away. So my group kind of changed its dynamic. The good news is my group is starting to come back, and I found other people that are getting included in the hobby. So I'm super excited about that. But that made it so I didn't play as much as I used to. And then also my local store, so in my area, a lot of the local stores that were the locations that we would go and play, closed up. And with COVID, it kind of changed the dynamic of some of those stores. So even the store I frequently get a lot of my Warhammer stuff from and my painting stuff from, once COVID happened, they had a lot of trouble keeping people in, getting people to come in and play, to the point where even sounds crazy to me, but like even Friday Night Magic, like doing like regular standard Magic, they actually have a lot of trouble getting people to come to standard Magic, which is insane to me, because a lot of the people in this area where I am, they went to Arena during COVID. They started playing MTG Arena, and they just don't want to play standard anymore. So they come and play Legacy or Commander. So it's just interesting how like a lot of people, the hobby area shifted. So one of the reasons that you guys are seeing us in a different space, and I was talking about how I had to set up a whole new area, is because I'm currently working on creating a space I'm in the process of creating a space so I can do gaming both on our channel, but also actually more locally. So we'll have like our own space to do that, to drive myself to be able to play more games and get to experience more and more stuff, especially since we have a lot of things on the horizon, which I'm going to talk a lot about while we're building, because there's been so many GW announcements. Sorry, you don't know what I'm talking about. So when we talk about so I'll explain very quickly to give a little kind of crash course in what I was talking about. But so when I talk about Friday Night Magic, so that's just a fancy way. I mean, most people who go to any store that probably sells Warhammer or gaming and collectible card stuff, they probably have seen a bunch of people like on a Friday night playing Magic, probably. That's what they call Friday Night Magic. So, and when I say standard basically means it's the format for new people. So it's the format where you basically use the most current cards and current what's Magic. So Magic the Gathering. I apologize that I didn't say all the words. So the card game, the collectible card game, Magic the Gathering. That's what I'm talking about. So traditionally, for a lot of gaming stores and even stores that sell Warhammer, you may notice that they have like Magic cards or. Oh, interesting. Okay. I don't know if you're kidding with me or you're telling the truth, but if you're telling the truth, if I may ask, you don't have to obviously say exactly where you're from, but I'd be curious to know where you are from, because I have a funny feeling I know where you're from if you've never heard of that, which is totally relevant and totally okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, in the UK, there's, again, funny enough, in the UK, a lot of Warhammer and hobby games are a little bit more prevalent because Magic isn't as popular in the UK. Because there's a lot more competition in the UK, that's why. In America, I'm sorry guys, this model is like so tiny. The detail on him is so awesome though. I love this model because he's got, I only know Warhammer from when I was a kid. Yeah, well, see, I'm envious of you because you being from the UK, see, you get, that's amazing because the access that you have. Gotcha. Yeah, so collectible card games. So Magic's been around for a really long time. Magic's been around for over 30 years, but to simplify Magic to the simplest, it's a collectible card game, so it comes in packs like I just opened of the. Yeah, it's like Pokemon. Yep. But Magic's been around a lot longer has a lot more cards. Oh, actually, let me strike and reverse that. Pokemon probably has more individual cards than Magic does, only because Pokemon releases a lot more sets a year. But Magic the Gathering is a much more complicated game. And also tends to skew to an older demographic, whereas Pokemon tends to skew to a younger demographic. Lorcana, which we just opened those packs from, that's kind of mid ground, where it can have some, you can have kids, you can have like middle age, adults. Like, it's meant to be an inclusive all around game. So the mechanics are dynamic enough, but they're not like super complicated. Magic has a lot of mechanics now because it's been around for 30 years and they've kept adding more mechanics and more cards. But to sum Magic up very quickly, you are two wizards dueling with spells. It's what Magic has always been. It's what it is. And you conjure creatures and spells to attack your opponent and knock your opponent's life total down to 0. That's it. Now, like other collectible card games, when I was talking about things like Standard, or maybe talk about Legend or Legacy, well, I was gonna say, if you're interested in Magic, you should take a look at my YouTube channel and some of the older videos that we have. Because I unbox Magic cards too, because I collect Magic cards and I play Magic. I've played Magic since literally the beginning, but just to give you a juxtaposition of cards, so like this is a Magic the Gathering card, so obviously you could already see tons more text. They are color based. Nowadays they have these alternate art cards, which are really cool. But the idea is that it's a 5 different colors. You can create a deck however you want card wise. You use land, or mana as they call it, to cast your spells. So there's resources that you use to cast your spells. And like I said, you're trying to get your opponent's life total to 0. And when I said Standard, because Magic releases or has released so many cards, Standard just means that the most recent quote-unquote block of sets, which is usually 3 to 4 sets, is all you can play with. So it's that format is really intended for newer players who weren't around for all the older cards. Like for me, I've been playing Magic since like the 3rd set they released 30 years ago. So I have cards that are much older and a lot more powerful. So it wouldn't be fair for me to play against somebody who like just started to play, because they won't have the same bank of cards to choose from when creating decks. And I can create decks that probably have nastier, harder mechanics to fight off if all you have is the newer sets or the newer cards to play with. If that makes sense. I hope I explained that well. Hey guys, so what we're doing, if you're just joining the stream, I did already present everything I got for Christmas, which is what the name of the stream was. But what we're doing now, we're building, this is, what's his name? I keep forgetting his name. We're building one of my Christmas gifts, which is Rabble Rouser, Gloomspite gets, so the named character for them, which I was able to get for Christmas. So many more things are coming, and we're just kind of sitting and talking while I build. And I wanted to also talk a lot about, I am super excited for all of the old world announcements. So for all of us Warhammer fans out there, if you've been keeping track of the community page, they just did a bunch of reveals for Old World, which is essentially a re-release of Warhammer Fantasy, which is pretty amazing and awesome. So I am super, super stoked and excited about that. I am so going to buy the Bretonnian and Tomb Kings box. the fact that I will be able to get 1 Tomb Kings, 2 new Tomb King models is insane to me. I love that. So I am super, super excited. I don't know if you guys are as excited as me. I hope you are. Is anybody going to be picking those boxes up? I'm curious. My guess is quite a few people probably will. And I'm very excited about the new rule set for Fantasy. It looks nice and clean and shiny. And I also like that they already said that they're going to release sheets that will update the point cost and will update the rules for all of the factions you may already own, which I think is amazing. I have no intention. All right, sorry guys. This is a tiny little guy, and my nose is still super clogged, so I'm sorry that I sound so nasally. My house is like the house of just craziness. I had the flu a couple of weeks ago. That's why our streaming schedule got all messed up, and then now people in my house just got COVID, so we have to keep our distance from everybody. It's just crazy. It's like every day is a new adventure, and I'm like, please, for the love of God. I have no intention of picking them up. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. Give in to your pile. You know you want more. The pile must grow. I just showed you, like, look at how many bottles I got for Christmas. I'm still gonna buy the box. What, are you kidding me? Oh, what's up, Biker Scout? I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, jeez. I might pick up Tomb Kings, but I'm definitely waiting for Chaos Dwarves. Amen, brother. I'm crazy. So I'm gonna buy all of it. I got some. In addition to all the generous gifts I got quite a bit of cash. I'm putting that aside in my fund, and I'm gonna go buck wild. And I was lucky enough to also score some Pokemon packs on my own before the holiday, and I pulled some of the like secret rare gold art cards. So I'm like just gonna use those as like exchange money for Warhammer stuff, because I am not an avid Pokemon player. So I used to collect Pokemon cards for the art, but I don't do that anymore. I kind of use them as like cannon fodder for other stuff. Wow, this is okay. So we're looking at this as a top. Oh, this is a pain in the tuchus. All right. Hold on. Let's see how this dry fits, and then I can figure it out. So this is the jawbone. Oh, so it's got to go. Okay. I think I understand how it goes. Good old GW. To hide a seam, we got to do the craziest glue known to man. But yeah, I'm totally down for Chaos Dwarves. You are a man among men. Chaos Dwarves are the bomb. I love them. I mean, back in the day, I rocked goblins and orcs, but I also rocked wood elves, and there has been no discussion of wood elves being. I haven't heard anything on wood elves, but I mean, obviously, I'm sure they will re-release all of the factions. I mean, they said in the community post that they will. I would normally pick up all of it, but I've got too much and already doing a City of Sigmar army, so I don't really need to grab them. Yeah, that's true. I kind of did the same thing. Like, I started to go a little heavy into the City of Sigmar stuff, which I'm kind of happy that I didn't get a lot of the kits now, because really the kits they showed for the new like City of Sigmar stuff, that's really just the Petonians. So if you just buy the Petonian box, you're gonna get all the new models. So, but I unfortunately don't have my fantasy models anymore. I wish I did. I'm so upset that I don't. But yeah, I didn't. That was a mistake. That was. Oh, did I not have to cut this piece out? I think I made a mistake, guys. Hold on. Oh, I popped out the wrong piece. I'm gonna keep that to the side. I did not pop out the other drop. I mean, there's only like 4 pieces on this model kit, so I don't know why I'm having an immense amount of problems putting it together. I promise, guys, I'm a professional painter and hobbyist, but of course you wouldn't know it from my streams. It's because I'm always sick. I've been like sick for a month. But hopefully you guys find the stream entertaining. And I was going to say, even if you don't, just lie. Just tell me it's entertaining anyway. No, I'm kidding. No, I say this all the time to everybody who's watching my stream. If you have any feedback, always I'm a fan of it. I promise you, I'm in the process of trying to get a better camera for macro shots. Because I know when I do my goblin models and some of the smaller stuff, it's a little tougher to see in my camera. So I am on the hunt for a better one. Oh no, why? Why, GW? Why do you make complex things? Oh god, I'm gonna stick to this. Alright. That's awesome. I really like that. That's one of the reasons I liked him as a model, because he's just got all this like crazy... He's got like bats flying around him, and he's just a crazy goblin. Because every goblin in Age of Sigmar is just like an insane little bastard. I love that. Please be insane. So where do you put these other bats? Oh, the other bats go on the back of his weapon. Got it. So they look like they're flying. That makes sense. All right, I'm going to let this dry on the side, because that's not going to go on. I'm going to have a terrible time putting that on. All right, so it sounds like Old World. A lot of people are into it, which is awesome. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. And also, oh, thank you, Biker, for following us. I appreciate it. I didn't say it. My sound apparently, you know, it's funny. One day my alerts work, and then another day they don't work, so I don't hear them. I was gonna say, also, not only subscribe, follow us on Twitch, but also jump over to our YouTube and follow that as well. Because I do right now. I'm archiving my VODs on there. But I will be we'll be doing some original content on there too. I just have to, I'm in the process of planning it out and doing it. So we will have some original stuff on there, but I'm just getting everything together. And I want to start doing a little bit more like in-depth reviews of stuff. And that's going to definitely get kicked into a little bit more high gear when the Old World boxes come, and I have more releases that are coming, because like I said, for the holidays, since I am fortunate enough to have a birthday and the holidays so close together, I do kind of go on a freeze or a hiatus, as I'll call it, from purchasing a lot of stuff. Because, you know, my family is, as I say many times, super awesome and good about getting me these things because I'm a big fan of them and I love doing models and painting and hobbying. So they are super awesome about getting a lot of that stuff for me. So I do have a Discord. Let me pop the link in there. Is my Discord not open? Oh, look at that. And I was going to say on the Discord, I will be frank and honest with you. I'm slowly growing the Discord, and I'm going to be relaunching my Patreon, which will tie into our Discord. But I'm just in the process of getting everything set up, and just refreshing and getting the content set up and just trying to get ahead of stuff. So it's going to be really cool. I mean, you can go to the Patreon now if you want. And I'm going to start uploading a little bit more. But there'll be game assets on there. I'm creating stuff that I'm going to give to you guys for free. But I'm just like trying to get it all done. What is happening? Sorry, guys. Hold on one sec. My computer like decided to be weird. Yeah, so like we'll be, because my goal with the Discord is gonna be, so my goal always was to do a Discord only show where you guys could post up or come to that show and talk about models and projects you're painting, and I'll give you guys a full critique. I'll give you like my take and thoughts on it. Since you know I've been an artist and painter for many years. And I am a commissioned painter, which that's another way you can support our channel if you guys ever have thought about getting commissions done. I'm super, you know, I love doing different projects and painting different things. So I always tell people, like, it can sometimes be a really great motivator too. And I'll explain that in a minute. What am I doing? You guys are like, do you have a Discord? So I am based in the US, so I will say, I have not explored international shipping. I'm not opposed. I'm not, there's the invite link. I'm not opposed to doing international shipping. I just haven't, and I was gonna say on there, you can post show ideas, you can post pics of models on there as well. I really would love the feedback. So like anyone that joins the Discord, please really use that like show idea, or really put in things that you want to see more of. I'm always a fan when I would love to get that feedback from people, like what you want to see more of on, you know, on the channel. That is super helpful. Did I just mess myself up by putting this base on before I put this on? Got excited because I knew where it went. Sometimes GW doesn't like when you do things like that. When you go out of order. But I like to do it because I know where it goes, damn it. Alright, so this is supposed to go... Oh, because I have to put this thing on first. And then it attaches to that thing. Okay, so this goes on here. That's crazy. Look at that. Like, how freaking insane is that goblin? I just love how the goblins are just so, like, wacky, crazy, make absolutely no sense kind of guys. I love it. And then I think... Right, this... but here's why it won't be. I'm not going to glue this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just fitting it on top, And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it. I'm going to prime spray it. And then I'm going to paint them separately, and then I'm going to glue it when it's done. That's why, if you notice, I did the gluing of this like separately to let it dry. I'm going to fit it. I do this a lot. I did that a lot with the Speed Freaks 40K orc carts. I did the same thing. Like all the brackets, like all the bars on the cars, I would just build those pieces out, leave them separate, and then I'd paint them, and then I would glue them afterwards. Yeah, because that's. And there are times where if I like a model the way it is, so like if you look at this, the way that this thing connects, yeah, see, for me, I can't do the sub-assembly thing. I know other people can do that. I can't paint like that. I have to have the model together. Like I have to see the whole model together so I can see how my colors are going to work and how my shadows are going to work. So that's me. I respect anybody that can like paint a piece on a sprue and then assemble it. I just can't do that. I totally respect people that can. I always learned, like from a young age when I started painting, I always built the model and painted it. It wasn't until I got older that I started to do like some little like bits like I just did where I'm like, all right, I'll keep that loose. But yeah, that's just my thing. That's not an everybody thing. Again, like everything else, it's super cool that we can all do it in so many different ways. I love that. I said I was going to explain about the commission painting, and I completely didn't. So the reason I said about commission painting and why it can be a motivator. So a lot of times I know people get very, especially if you aren't necessarily like into or haven't really been like an art kind of person, or maybe art's not your like go-to thing, but you're like exploring hobbying and painting and that kind of stuff. I know sometimes that can be really daunting to a new person coming into it. And I say that it can be useful to have a commission done, because what I find is sometimes it can inspire the person. So like you get a commission done of like your centerpiece, right? Like maybe your leader, or maybe like a named character. And then what's cool about you getting that commission is that you can then look at the commission as like a point of inspiration, and then you sort of practice on all of your like troops, your battle line troops, your like regular troops, where you're going to do a little bit more rinse repeat painting, and obviously then it teaches you how to like make it fit the color scheme. You can kind of replicate that color scheme, and so sometimes it can be really motivating to do that, because then it really helps you to like build and grow as a painter. So you know, because I always say that. I say to new painters, like, practice on your battle line stuff. Practice on your battle line stuff, and then paint your named character, then paint your like all that other stuff. Oh, okay, so we don't really even need to paint to do that. I could just do all of it off of this skull. I just have to look at the instructions on how it attaches to the skull, and then I'll be right as rain. Because whether or not it's gonna fit on the character, because it just kind of sits in the back. So okay, and that's the other side of the bat. Got it. Okay, so So we're going to let that dry for a minute. Then the bat's going to get on there. And now where does this little wonderful mushroom go? It goes into the base. So let's do the little mushroom. Happy mushroom. Happy tree. Happy mushroom. So what projects is everybody currently working on? I know I heard already that some folks elected that they have tons of stuff in their backlog, which I totally understand. Totally get, totally understand. Nobody wants to see my backlog. My backlog's got a lot of stuff in it because, you know, that I think probably if you asked any commissioned artist or painter, they all have a ton of backlogs because you never get to really do your stuff. You just do other people's stuff. So this is a rare occasion where I'm starting to do some project. But I mean, technically these are projects that are going to be for future videos or like for other stuff. So is it really? Is it really? One could argue that it is or is not. I'm starting up a city's army, but I've got one of the biggest piles of shame you would see. Believe me, I got you beat, bro. I have multiple AOS factions, multiple 40k factions. I have tons of other games that aren't even Games Workshop, that are just sitting and haven't been painted. To the right of me, which you see the base of one of them, there is 4 or 5 models right there. There's another 7 models that are half painted next to those. Believe me, I got a huge pile of shame. The one thing I will say that I am religiously big on, and it's mostly for storage, is I do build everything and prime everything. But then the painting it is the next step that's my pile of shame. It's really a painting pile of shame. It's not a building pile of shame. I do build most of the models, but it's mostly painting because that's the part I just haven't gotten. But I'm gonna start. We're gonna start because we're gonna start to focus too on like more. What I was doing in the past was I was jumping around on projects a lot and I was doing a lot more stuff. We're gonna really focus and like see something through to finish on a lot of stuff. So. But I'm down. I like Cities of Sigmar because I do play. Stormcast Eternals, so I do want to have a little Cities of Sigmar faction, because I love that you can integrate them into that, and I want to kind of be tricky with it so that I build and paint single models rather than an army. Yeah, I gotcha. Well, for me, I do similar things. I do buy a lot of the named characters. The theory behind that is, one, the models are really cool, so I want to paint them. That's usually the biggest part. But the other theory about doing that is that then I own all the name characters, which are usually the harder models to get later on. And then I can pick up the battle line units if I ever want to like play the faction. So that's kind of the theory behind it. Whether it's a good theory or whether it's a good model, I don't know if it is, but that's what I tend to do. So, therefore, my model collection is kind of weird because I'll have like 1 or 2 factions that I play, but I'll have a lot of random models from other stuff. Part of it also comes down to back to like doing D&D or RPG stuff, or like I'm a big fan of what we're going to be doing, which I keep talking about, like a custom campaign. I like having the character models because then characters can meet those characters, or like, you know, sort of fight them as boss battles or other things like that. So there is like a part of me that does that as well. But most of the time, it really just is, the lead to it is, that's really freaking cool. Like, look at how insane that model is. I need to have that model. Let's go get that model. Like, because that would be a really sick painting project. Like, that is... that is a good chunk. Yeah, it wasn't this one. Trying to keep up with your comments, guys. I'm just gonna cleaning off my brushes here, because for the most part I can't really do much more with that model. I'm gonna wait till it dries so we can see it all together, but like I said, I'm not gonna assemble those two pieces. So we are done building this guy for now, at least. And I will have to prime him with my other field of models that have to be primed over here. So he's gonna join those ranks. I'm not going to paint this tonight because our Christmas stream didn't happen, so we're going to work on our works. So now we're going to take a stroll in the 40K realm for a minute. So hope you guys like this custom I did, but yeah, I hate Space Marines. So I made I bought the Leviathan box. So to make a long story short, the original idea was that I was going to split the Leviathan box with a friend. They were going to take... I sent you some pics just... Oh, it's not like this work. Discord it is. Do a proper hello also. Where is it? Oh, I think you sent it. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, he's got to do it. Since I know it's a pile of shame, I'm not gonna DM. I gotcha. Sorry, I had to jump to a different window. All right, let's take a look. So he's got the Dominion box. Oh, lordy lord. So you got like a whole Gloomspike Glitz. It looks like you got some, I think Nagesh is in there. You got some Warcry stuff. You got one of the giant kits, Giant Behemoth. You got Kragnos. Oh, yep. I got a whole Necromunda box too. Oh, we got some Necromunda stuff. There it is. All right, all right. Yep, I have one of those sitting next. That's really funny. Shadows of Pain. You got a couple of box sets. Oh my god. All right, you got quite a bit there, my friend. It's rare I don't have a model and I buy multi of each box. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're building larger factions, it kind of makes sense, but... So, yeah, so going back to what I was saying, the Leviathan box for 40K, I was supposed to... So I was supposed to split it with a friend, and I hate Space Marines. I would never want to play Space Marines. I know that's going to sound crazy, and everyone who is a huge 40K fan is going to be like, why? Because they're like amazing now, and they're like super powerful and OG crazy. I again, whenever I think of factions I want to play, I think of, is it cool to paint? Are the models cool? I lead visually and like that a lot. So for me, I am 100% want to want to paint cool things, and I don't really care. Like, again, I always say this, as a fantasy player, I was a goblin and orcs player, which didn't mean I came to the table thinking I was going to win. It was just to have fun. So if you, I mean, similar to now, if you play Gloom, Spike, Gits, and AOS, they're just random. They're crazy. They don't have like the best rules. They can be pretty powerful sometimes, but there's definitely, again, even like a Skaven player. Skaven players will understand this too. It's very swingy because there's random. Some of your units have random elements. Anyway, so I want to have fun. I'm not overly crazy competitive. So I think, like, is it going to be fun to paint? Now there are some rare occasions, like I do. From 40k, I only use Sisters of Battle and Sisters of Silence. Not a fan of Space Marines either. Yeah, I just find them really boring. So what I did with I ended up with the Leviathan box because I really wanted the Tyranids in the box, because the Tyranids are super dope and awesome to paint. And so my friend was supposed to split it with me, and he ended up not doing that. So I now had all these Space Marines, and I made a joke on one of the streams. I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if like a bunch of orcs like raided a ship and stole all the Space Marine tech? So if you probably may have noticed, that is what I did. I kit bashed and customed all of the Space Marine units in the box to be orc Marines. So essentially orcs pretending to be Space Marines or using their tech. So you could already see in the paint scheme, they've already like taken it and started painting it yellow. There's orange on it, there's red on it, because it's an orc, so they're gonna do what orcs do. Now I think one of my crowning jewel achievements, which I love, is this guy, which is a dreadnought. But you'll notice there's one difference in this dreadnought, and that is so technically it's an AOS goblin, but I thought it like comically looked pretty good. But it's essentially a Gretchen. They hot wired a Gretchen with wiring and put extra batteries and stuff on it, and he now controls the dreadnought. He can never leave the dreadnought. He's now like a cybernetic Gretchen. But this is what I did with the Leviathan box. So probably some people out there are like, oh my god, he like didn't build a model, he destroyed some of it. And you'd be correct, because I did. And I used green stuff to do some sculpting on it. And then for anyone who is an old 40k player, I actually stole this color scheme from the really old 40k boxes. So if anybody remembers White Dwarf in the 80s, Space Marines look like this. This is what Space Marines actually look like. So it's kind of funny because it's meant to be like the orcs painted it, but it's really what like the old box art of the Space Marines look like before we had Ultramarines and all this other crap. So the old checkerboard and all that old stuff. You can see they did an orc symbol on there. They obviously put some orc green on some of the sigils. Still have to do the base on that, but pretty freaking happy with the way it came out. In the mythos of the space orcs, I'm doing a regular Space Marine, like more like a Warcry or Kill Team kind of size. I have a squad of another force of Terminators, We have the Dreadnought. The next thing I need to do, I need to get a box of Gretchen, because I'm going to make Gretchen who are like using Space Marine legs as like stilts. So they're going to have like random weird Space Marine tech that doesn't really fit them. That's going to be like all mishmashed and crazy. But I haven't got, but funny enough, I can't find a box of Gretchen, which is like pretty funny. I've been looking for a box of Gretchen, but I can't find it. And, well, I was going to say, for you guys, I don't know where everybody's located, but if you're located in, like, the UK and places like that, I don't think you have the same... You may not have the same supply issues that we have here, but, a lot of the retailers that I go to, because I try to support, like, my local game store and hobby shop, versus like going to an official GW store, which we do have some here. None of them are actually very close to me, but my local store has been having a lot of trouble keeping you know, getting stuff in stock or even ordering stuff, so it's been really annoying. Oops. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, probably gonna go for another 20 minutes, and then I may have to just call it quits, because I do have some stuff to do tomorrow. And for me, since I'm in the US, my time is a lot earlier in the morning, so, but we'll have some more time. I want to get some work done on this, and we're gonna be back with a vengeance painting. I support my friend's store. He has his own. He has his own. He got me into Warhammer. I've only been doing it since Warcry came out, and oh, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Was it? I'm assuming, was the break like? Was it life itself, or was it like pandemic related? Because obviously I know, like, pandemic, for everybody, the pandemic was like obviously a big deterrent to putting. Gotcha. But I know the pandemic like caused a lot of people to not be able to hobby. But I did think it was kind of cool. Like, I know, I thought it was cool that, like, GW, for instance, and other companies, like, released, like, solo campaigns and other stuff that people could do at home. I thought that was kind of cool. Because I also have Kings of War stuff. I love Mantic Games as well. I have a lot of their stuff as well. I do. That's a game I would love to get more into. That's a game that I do have the models for, but I haven't really played that much of it. And now it's interesting with Old World coming back. Old World is probably going to make... I'm interested to see how and what that does to Kings of War players. I'm curious. Not to say that Kings of War, and I do not want to... I want to preface this. Not that I'm saying that Kings of War is exactly like Fantasy, because it's not. And I don't want people to think that they're a direct comparison, because they do have different rules. It is a different rule system. Um, but at the time that Mantic created Kings of War, part of it was because there was no fantasy. So it was like a pretty easy sell for them because Warhammer Fantasy had been discontinued. So it gave them, because there wasn't, you know, they Games Workshop switched to a, you know, what we know as Age of Sigmar now, which is more of a squad or smaller based army. It wasn't regiment army battles, which is what Old World's going to be, the old fantasy way of doing it. So I'm curious to see how that affects what they're doing, but we'll see. So for anyone that's joining us, your eyes do not deceive you. This is this is a space orc. It is an orc who has stolen Terminator armor and is now using it. He's rocking a power fist and power sword. And the idea of this is, the quick version of the story is, I had to buy the Leviathan box on my own and did not split it with my friend. So I had a bunch of Ultramarines, and I don't play Ultramarines, so I did only what I thought a self-respecting human would do. I converted them into orcs. So I am making my own custom space orcs, which we're going to be using in a custom campaign that we're going to be doing, as well as I want to use them in maybe some story-driven scenario campaigns with Warhammer rules as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So, all right, I'm just doing some Griffin Charger Gray for this for the belt detail. I'm going to do Space Wolves Gray for the rest of the belt, and then I'm going to be working on the rest of the armor. As you can see, since these are orcs, orcs do what they do best. They started painting it yellow, orange, and red. So that's why your Ultramarine is not staying in its blue. And you can see they started spray painting parts of it, changing the color scheme up. And as I was saying to the folks on the stream, if you are a pretty avid Warhammer fan and you've been playing Warhammer for a while, you actually will realize that what I have done is I'm actually painting them in a very old Space Marine paint scheme. So if you can remember in the 80s and White Dwarf issues, you used to see Space Marines with these kinds of colors. So it's kind of funny. I did that on purpose. I'm a huge retro guy. I love doing that, especially when I do my orcs. I always do orcs with the good old black and white checker on them. All of those like retro looking pieces. So I love doing that stuff. I also am a big fan of making my factions, going back to the whole fantasy tie-in. I love making my factions look like they are the fantasy factions in the future. So when I paint 40K models, I always like to refer back to refer back to because for anyone out there that is not aware, the original storyline for Warhammer Fantasy and 40K was that it was the future of, that was the idea, is that this was supposed to be the fantasy creatures fighting in the future. So if you ever wondered, as you were playing maybe a game of 40K, why there are orcs in space, that's the reason. It was because they were the future descendants of the orcs that you played in fantasy. I always thought that was like a really cool fact. So when I do my paint schemes, I try to make it look that way so that it looks like they've carried that heritage forward. Yeah, that's why all the factions look really weird. And why, like, some of them look like elves. Some of them look like, you know, goblins and orcs. That's the reason. Or my favorite, the Lords of Votan, which I've been painting a lot of those guys, which are space dwarves, for anyone who didn't know that. And that was their original, in the original 40K, that's what they were. You know, even stuff like for, I know that you were I was looking at your pile and you had some Necromunda stuff in there. Even some of the Necromunda, that's why there's ogres in Necromunda. That's why. Because it was supposed to be the fantasy creatures in the future. But what Games Workshop realized early on was they had an issue and they had a problem, and that issue and that problem was you can't copyright orcs or goblins. So they kind of messed themselves up in the sense that they wanted to have like IP that they could make products out of, games out, like other things in their models. So that's why they like made a shift and they started to in fact, that's why they destroyed fantasy, because they were like, we want to make Age of Sigmar where we can call everything different names. It's also why they started misspelling the word orc, and they don't call dragons dragons, they call them drakon, and they have all these weird pronunciations and names for things because they're trying to make it a copyrightable word. Because dragons, goblins, that's why goblins are not called goblins anymore, they're called Gloomspite Gits, because then, and trolls are not called trolls, they're called Trogoths, because those are all copyrightable words. Which is kind of weird. That's why even like the giants are not called giants, they're called sons of Behemoth. Because we can't call them giants. It's like so weird. It's just weird. When I say it out loud, I always think it's weird. I'm like, a company had to like invent words because they were like, they were worried about that. Now I'm using Apothecary White on the symbol. And that was another thing too when I was doing this paint scheme. I wanted them to look like they were like not shining new Space Marines. So I wanted to make them look like their armor is beat up. I don't have all of them out now, but it's like really funny how some of the customs came out. Like I have one where in the back of the Terminator, then there's a knife inside of it as if they stabbed the guy inside of it. But now they're just wearing it with like the broken knife in it because they just don't care. I tried to have a lot of fun with this army and just with this custom stuff. So hopefully you guys think it's fun. I think it's funny. And then actually I have another example. I just want to let that dry for a minute. Especially the foot, because I made the foot two different colors. But yeah, like this is another good example of this is one of the normal infantry guys. And in this one, I actually combined some third-party orc bits with the GW bits. And then you can see there's like a dead Space Marine at his feet. So I found these like pirate orc bits from Spellcrow. That's the company that makes those for the head and the torso. And then I just used green stuff to mold it a little bit to kind of like make it a different form. So they have that piratey feel. I will say the Spellcrow faces are not the greatest, but I think it gets the job done, and I think it gets the point across. But, and you can see he used like the chest plate as like back armor. So I just tried to have like a lot of really weird fun with it. And I used green stuff to like work on the proportions, so the feet and everything seemed more orc-like. I did give every orc like a power fist, because I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, wouldn't every orc just grab the power fist? Like, wouldn't that totally make sense? And then in some cases I reworked wiring. I might have even added an extra wire. You could see the checker element. So really trying to make this like cohesive force of orc misfits, which I think is working out really well. What are you guys thinking? You guys liking the design? You think it's cool? Like I said, we're probably going to go for a little bit longer. Yeah, like I said, I try to have fun with it. That was the only thing I tried to like focus on when I was doing it. But like I said, I really want to get those Gretchen, because I have a bunch of other like bits that I want to use. And I'm a big kit basher. That's cool. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you go to my website, it doesn't do it complete justice, because it's like a process photo. It's not complete. But I have a Nagesh, which I think you would really like, where I went like super crazy with it. So not only did I tweak his pose a little bit, because I always, I've said this on other videos, I hate the Nagesh model. The thing I hate about it is I hate how stagnant he looks in his pose. I feel like, because he's supposed to be this like god of death, and they like made him like, what's the word I want to use? They made him like just like stand there. The pose is like so stagnant. So what I did, and I do this quite a bit, especially if a model, so in Nagesh's case, when you look at his profile, he's got like two, he could take different weapons, and he can kind of have like two different builds. So whenever a model has that, I immediately try to, with the kind of kit sort of kit bashing, because I'm kind of using the same kit, but I'm taking the best bits of what I want. But I like immediately make I try to make an amalgam of the two different options, and that's self-serving. It's so if I play the character, I can be like, if I show up to a game, I could be like, well, today I'm gonna play with him being with the sword versus the spell book. And so he looks cool, but I'm just saying I'm not using the sword today. But if you think about it from a like model standpoint or like from the lore standpoint, like Nagesh wouldn't pick one of those things. He would come to the battlefield with both things, and he would just wreck people because he's a god. He's a god of death. So he's not gonna like sheath his really big sword to only use his magical tomes. So it's like, you know, obviously totally get it from a game perspective. It's got to have balance, but so yeah, so I tend to do stuff like that. So one thing I did was I like tweaked that so it looked really epic the way he held the sword. So I like completely like ripped out his arm and like twisted his arm, so that would look better. And then well, then I went crazy with that model. So I not only did that, then I also which I need to bring him back up so I can finish him, because he has to finish being painted. But I basically, on his base, I built it so it looks like, I basically built like he ripped a piece of earth out of the ground and is now floating on top of it. And then his magic is flowing through smoke that is then like going to all these graves, and all these skeletons are arising. Since he can regenerate, he can bring back units, which many of the spellcasters on the undead army can do. So it's like insane. So I literally made him like so much taller, and then I also, like I said, like I like broke his legs, broke his arms, so that I could reposition everything to make it a little bit more interesting. So I was to say, I also did that with another example of me doing that was the Stormcast Eternals, the dragon. So not the riders, but the standalone dragon. I essentially want to play him as the magical dragon, but I hated the way the magical dragon looked. Like, he looks very peaceful and smiling. Again, not like a dragon in a battlefield that's probably going after a bunch of units. So I same thing, I kit bash that to use the like scar dragon head from the more violent dragon. I made the armor look like it was broken, so I started cutting the armor up. Just doing stuff to it that would make it look more like he, you know, he's seen some stuff, and he's like had magical fights with other characters, and has like magical scars now and other stuff. So I tried to really focus in on, you know, other aspects of it. So all I'm doing now is I'm putting some of that Space Marine blue to try to I'm gonna be doing my Nagesh sitting on a throne with a sword leaning up against, yep, and handle putting the souls from people in front of him. Yep. I've seen people do that. I actually was gonna make my Nagesh sitting, so I actually, crazy enough, I started. That's part of why the legs originally got ripped off, was because I was gonna make him sitting on a throne. and I tell this story about Nagesh. I had, in some ways, I have a similar story of, I you know I when I say a similar story, I have a similar story of I was into models and painting, and then I kind of took a break too, for a while, and then I came back to it. And one of the things that's true about when you do that, if you really get used to painting, and you do it very frequently, and then you kind of take a break from it, not that you lose your skills, but you get, you do get a little rusty, right? So you get rusty, you start to forget some of the nuance and control that you had. So I did that. So I took a break from painting, and what ended up happening when I took a break was I came back, and because things had changed. They started releasing new models. They started releasing new things. And when I say I came back, this is like when Age of Sigmar like started. So, and that's when they released the Nagesh model. A lot of people don't realize that was like one of the first newer models that they released for Age of Sigmar. So, and that was the dark days of Age of Sigmar, when like the exact rules were, you could just like put whatever you wanted on the table. There were no points. And the rationale behind the why there was that that was GW's kind of way of handling, well, we have all these people who, spent all this time and money in collecting fantasy models, and then we basically discontinued fantasy. So they have all these models, but like we haven't made enough new models for you to play, like new factions, new things. So they were like, well, let's let people use their old models by just putting them on the table, and there's no point values, and it's like you just show up and you put what you want on the table and you play with it. Needless to say, the game did not work very well when that happened, and it made Age of Sigmar have a very bad reception when it first came out. So anyway, so that happened, and then so I bought the Nagesh model, and I was like, oh, this is awesome, and I want to do all this stuff, because I was like, oh, when I used to paint, I used to customize, and my brain started to get like, same thing, like, oh, I want to have them sitting, I want to have them doing all this stuff, I want to have them, I want to have it look that way. And then I even in the group, or the place I was playing, there was actually somebody who had a Nagesh model that was professionally done by a painter, and he kit bashed it and did all this lovely stuff and all this lovely base work and everything. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do that. And I realized very quickly that I had forgotten a lot of what I had learned in doing a lot of model painting and customizing and all that stuff. So I just wasn't as quick at it as I used to be. And so so I started like ripping the Nagesh apart, and you have that moment, and I think a lot of people who custom kit bash will be able to agree with this. When you don't plan out what you're going to do, and probably maybe at the beginning of your time of kit bashing you probably did this, you didn't make a good plan, and then you ripped up a model and you just realized, I just ripped up $120 model, and I've just like essentially ruined it because I've now ripped it into a few pieces. So I had that realization, which really sucked, and I tabled my Nagesh model. I basically was just like, all right, it's over. I'm gonna have to, maybe another day I'll have to buy another one, or I'll have to figure something out. But I failed, and I was really discouraged, and I just like I kind of threw it in a drawer and forgot about it. Then I started to do stuff more. I did it more regularly. I painted more. And I got all my skills back. So I started to remember and feel more comfortable and confident. And so once I did that, then I went back and did my Nagesh model. So I had to re-put him together, and I had to remake it look like I didn't cut his cape up. I didn't like do all this stuff to to get him in the shape he was in. So it was really, really funny. It was a super, really good learning experience. So I'm happy I did it, but it sure as heck was scary for a minute there. And then, I can say confidently, I think I've progressed to a pretty good level now. All right, guys, on that note, I think we're going to wrap it for tonight. I'm really, really excited and happy that you guys were all with us tonight. Nice. So you're like Emmett from the Lego movie. So whenever somebody tells me they have a skill like that, I always think of the Lego movie and like how he just like sees all the pieces and he's like, oh, yep, that's what Emmett does, right? Master builders, they see all the pieces that can be put together to make the crazy mechs and stuff, right? All right, so in my infinite wisdom of doing this, did I make a good decision? Let's see. And the answer is kind of. So I made a good decision for painting. Probably not going to be able to show you the model very well, but we're going to try. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done, once it's glued together. I think that looks super cool. I really, really like this. So I cannot wait to get him going and have him as one of the projects that we're going to be working on. We're obviously going to work more on the orcs. We're going to work more on all the stuff we got. Again, thank you all for coming. Yeah, it's really detailed. But I will say one thing about this model. So, as I said before, this model is technically part of the it's like a mixture of a card game, board game, battle game. Because it's the Underworld Quest game that they have. So these models are a little bit, I consider them a little bit higher detailed than like a typical GW model is. Again, they come with the like detailed bases. They come with like a little bit more going on. So I find these to be on the higher detail side, especially for a goblin. Like most GW goblins don't look like this. They don't look as polished. Again, newer ones do, because they are better models. Because a lot of the goblin models are the original models that they did for fantasy. They just re-released them. All the Spider Riders, all the other stuff for the Gloomspite Gits and AOS are essentially the fantasy models that they used to have. They're the same molds. Same thing with the Giants. If you're a Sons of Behemoth player in AOS, the regular Giants are the fantasy ones. They're the fantasy models that came out towards the end of fantasy, but they are the same fantasy models. Same thing with things like the Glocken. Like certain model kits are still the old ones, but so this is a little bit higher detailed. So I do love these models. I actually love all of the models from that game because they are so highly detailed. So I do buy a lot of them. They're really great for like NPCs, or like, again, if you want a small skirmish group for a campaign setting, they're really great. So I do like this. This is really cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. We're going to continue working on our projects. As always, check the schedule. My goal, once we get out of this week, I was going to say, we're going to really try to get back to the schedule. We are always going to be a later stream. So you'll probably notice I adjust my schedule that now we're going to start at like 11 o'clock. It just works better. Oh, you're welcome. And like I said, if you want to shoot over to the Discord, go to our About page. You can get to our website, our YouTube, everything. We're going to start to have some other YouTube content. It's just the VODs right now. But you want to subscribe and follow everything so you know when we're live. And I'm going to try to really get back into the swing of things. You guys have been awesome and understanding. We just got to get out of the holiday week, and then once that happens, I'll be doing another haul because, like I said, my birthday is coming up. So we did our Christmas haul, which was a lot. We got things from Marvel Crisis Protocol, things from... Nice. See you soon as well, Biker. And we did Shatterpoint. We got Age of Sigmar stuff. Worked on some 40k custom projects, and yes, that is a space orc. Did some trading cards. We got opened up some Lorcana stuff. So we definitely went the gamut of the geekiness of the holidays. So if you want to hear more about that and you want to see more things like that, consider following us. Consider signing up for notifications and check out our About page. All right, guys, I'm going to go. It's late, and I'll see you at the next stream. Take care, everybody.